What if I told you that some of the greatest fighters in MMA history didn't know when to call it quits? How do you know when it's time to walk away, especially when you've been on top for so long? This is the harsh reality of combat sports. Stay in the game too long, and the game will eventually catch up with you. Today, we're counting down 10 elite fighters who didn't retire on time and paid the price by getting brutally knocked out. Number 10. BJ Penn vs. Yair Rodriguez. BJ Penn, the prodigy, was once a force of nature inside the octagon, known for his unmatched skills in both striking and grappling. He was a two-division champion who had conquered legends, and for a long time, he seemed unstoppable. But after a long layoff, Penn returned in 2017 to face Yair Rodriguez, a much younger and dynamic striker. Penn, who once seemed invincible, was sent crashing to the canvas in the second round. His comeback was shattered, a harsh reminder that the new breed of fighters had surpassed him. The fight marked the end of a legendary career, but it was a painful one to witness for fans who remembered Penn at his peak. Number 9. Chuck Liddell vs. Rashad Evans. Chuck Liddell was once the epitome of knockout power and fearlessness, ruling the light heavyweight division with an iron fist. But in 2008, Liddell faced the young and explosive Rashad Evans in what was supposed to be another opportunity to climb back into title contention. In the second round, Evans delivered a thunderous right hand that connected flush on Liddell's chin, instantly knocking him out cold. Liddell, the once dominant champion, lay motionless on the canvas, his career forever altered by that one punch. Number 8. Anderson Silva vs. Uriah Hall. Anderson Silva was one of the most elusive and skilled fighters the sport had ever seen. Known for his striking precision and unshakable confidence, he dominated the middleweight division for nearly 7 years. But in 2020, Silva faced a rising contender, Uriah Hall, in what would be his farewell bout. In the fourth round, Hall connected with a vicious punch that sent Silva to the mat. As Hall tearfully apologized after the fight, Silva lay dazed, a reminder that even the greatest must eventually step aside. It was a sad end to an illustrious career. Number 7. Frankie Edgar vs. Chris Gutierrez. Frankie Edgar, known for his heart and resilience, had built a reputation as one of the toughest fighters in UFC history. He had fought some of the best in the world and was always in wars that tested his endurance and will, unconscious on the mat. Number 6. Rashad Evans vs. Anthony Smith. Rashad Evans was once the UFC light heavyweight champion, known for his speed, knockout power, and technical wrestling. But in 2018, after years of decline, Evans faced a younger and hungrier opponent in Anthony Smith. The fight lasted less than a minute, with Smith landing a crushing knee that sent Evans sprawling to the canvas. Rashad, who had once ruled the division, was brutally knocked out in what would be his final fight, a bitter farewell for a fighter who had achieved so much in the sport. Number 5. Antonio Bigfoot Silva vs. Ivan Shtirkov. Antonio Bigfoot Silva was known for his size, power, and chin, which had allowed him to stand toe-to-toe with the best heavyweights in the world. But by 2017, after suffering multiple knockout losses, Silva's durability was gone. In a fight against Russian prospect Ivan Shtirkov, Bigfoot's decline became painfully clear. Silva, once a feared contender, was brutally knocked out yet again. It was a painful sight for fans who had witnessed his greatness in battles past, but it was clear that his time at the top had long passed. Number 4. Mark Hunt vs. Justin Willis. Mark Hunt, the Super Samoan, was a fan favorite for his one-punch knockout power and iron chin, but by 2018, Hunt's legendary chin had begun to fail him. He faced Justin Willis at UFC Fight Night 142 in what would be one of his final fights. Though it wasn't a knockout, the damage Hunt absorbed throughout the fight was brutal. His speed and reflexes were no longer what they once were, and the punishment he took was hard to watch. Hunt retired shortly after, ending his career with dignity but leaving behind a trail of painful losses. Number 3. Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira versus Roy Nelson. Minotauro Nogueira was the embodiment of toughness, a man who had been through wars and survived the most dangerous heavyweights in MMA. But by 2014, the years of punishment had caught up with him. In his final fight, he faced Roy Nelson, a fighter known for his one-punch knockout power. That one shot sent Nogueira crashing to the mat, knocked out cold in the very first round. For a man who had once taken on the best and survived, it was a brutal and heartbreaking end to an incredible career. Number 2. Fedor Emelianenko versus Ryan Bader. Fedor Emelianenko was once considered the greatest heavyweight of all time, a nearly unstoppable force in Pride, where he dismantled the world's best. But in 2019, at Bellator 214, Fedor faced the younger and faster Ryan Bader for the heavyweight title. In one of the fastest KOs of Fedor's career, he was laid out cold, a harsh ending for a fighter who had once seemed invincible. It was a sobering moment for the MMA community to see the great Fedor fall so swiftly. Number 1. Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chandler. El Cucuy was once a force of chaos, a whirlwind of violence that tore through the lightweight division. But in 2022 at UFC 274, Tony Ferguson faced Michael Chandler, and the unthinkable happened. In the second round, Chandler delivered a front kick to Ferguson's chin, sending him crashing face first onto the canvas. The knockout was as brutal as it was shocking, leaving the once dominant Ferguson frozen like Elsa, a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of combat sports. And there you have it, 10 elite fighters who stayed in the game too long and paid the ultimate price. These fighters once defined greatness, their names echoing through the halls of MMA history. But in the end, even legends can fall. These are the harsh realities of combat sports, where the difference between victory and defeat, between glory and regret, is often just one fight too many. These warriors will always be remembered for the incredible moments they gave us, their guts, their heart, their dominance. But as their careers drew to a close, the sport they once mastered had evolved, and their bodies could no longer keep pace. Sometimes, knowing when to walk away is just as important as knowing how to win. A fighter's toughest opponent is often time himself, and while no one can take away their legendary status, these final moments serve as a reminder. In the brutal world of combat, the price of staying too long can be devastating. Their legacies are undeniable, but their last fights serve as a cautionary tale. For even the greatest, there's always one last fight. With that being said, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and leave a comment down below. I'll see you in the next video.